not moving again. We're setting everything on fire.
Just set it on fire. Do you know? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. And I'm sitting here in Ukraine with our very own Shere Khan. Can everybody hear us? Because we're both equally far away from the mic at this point.
And I have one of those soft, meek voices.
Yeah. So, and I don't. I'm loud as hell. So, actually, Holy Oblation, I was just giving you shit. We were just talking about how much it sucks to move. This trick is not going to bed. Fair point. Fair point, Isa. Do you know that the most ancient known Neolithic culture of Ukraine, they hated moving so much that instead of moving, Viper, wow, it is great to see you in here, my man. Anyway, this ancient culture of Ukraine called the Tripilia culture, they hated moving so much that instead of moving, every 5, 6, 7 decades, they would just burn all their houses down. That's not a joke. They really did it.
That sounds like the philosophy you were just talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking burn it down. We don't need it.
Burn it, and buy new stuff.
Yeah. So, thank you everyone for coming. Michelle, Bell, KK's GG. It wasn't me. And Manu, it's great to see you. Great to hear from you there. Why the People, the legend formerly known as Salt of the Earth, right? Salt of the Red Earth, yes. Is it okay I say that? Oh, no. Did I? I'm sorry if I doxed. I outed her.
Damn it.
And Kenneth, thank you for coming. And
you even said her. I don't even know the
right. I just need to start using they for everyone. Kurt, wonderful to see you. And Catherine, short of winning the lotto, I will never move again. Famous last words, Holy Oblation. Let me tell you, I have said that many times. Anna, it's wonderful to see you. So, Michelle, everybody. So, everybody say hi to Shere Khan here. I'm sitting here in his hotel room. He got us a hotel. We just have one bed, so I don't know. Don't tell my wife.
and a bed sheet. Strung up a shower curtain between us.
No, I thought you were going to wrap yourself in a bed sheet.
No,
tonight.
I'm going to wrap myself in the shower curtain.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just leave a little hole for me. So it'll be fine.
It's kind of weird because I picked up the name of these chains of hotels.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Glory Hotel.
No.
I swear to God.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Where is this? Is that here?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Glory Hotel.
It makes sense. Slava Hotel. Right. Okay.
Like Glory.
Yeah. All you need is one letter in that neon sign to go out, and you've got yourself a glory hole. Michelle, thank you. If I had your garden, I would never move. Real Dave Seaman said the other day. He said, "I make Ukraine with all of my chickens and garden and everything else. I make Ukraine look like freaking Disneyland," which struck me as really funny. Howdy, Shere Khan, did he empty the minibar yet? Yeah, 2 dudes in one hotel, packed cushions. Exactly. Yeah. So
he's the lucky one. He has a wife to go back to.
That's true. I have a wife to make excuses to. So let's see. So it's hotter than a piss ant on a fire ant here today, isn't it?
It really is.
It's ridiculous.
We have no air conditioning.
Ukraine doesn't have, most of Europe doesn't have air conditioning. It's a huge problem. But I do hope that we're okay with the microphone because we're kind of sitting far back from it and there might be a little bit of an echo.
And thank God you guys can't smell us. Is all I can say.
Yeah. Thank God the internet hasn't invented smell-o-vision. So everybody,
great stuff to talk about.
Maybe. I mean, it was a real shit show this week. Here's the thing. I wanted, I said I wanted to do a live stream on Thursday, and it just couldn't happen because I was preparing for this trip, and also just the freaking power issues. I mean, we're lucky to have power right now.
Yeah,
we just got lucky that we hit the right time slot. Thank God.
And it just came back on. They've been regularly scheduled power outages all day,
Mhm.
every day, all night.
Regularly or irregularly?
Irregularly.
Yeah.
There's supposedly this schedule you can look up.
And it's
but
never
it's
correct.
Never correct.
It's never right. Yeah. Yes, Manu. Yes, our wives are watching us. Yeah. So
Well, mine's watching me from heaven,
Mhm.
so
yeah,
let me tell
so
you what, that's
that's
evil
even
eyes.
that's even worse. That's even worse. So I kept thinking this week that, oh wow, this really top general got fired in Ukraine. Wow, that's going to be a big story. North Koreans are coming. Well, that's the big story of the week. And then good old Sleepy Joe. Oh God, I just used Trump's moniker, didn't I? That's how.
Is that what he called him?
Yeah.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, that's how memes work, though, right? They infect your brain,
He was sleeping though.
right? And yeah.
It's sad.
So you didn't watch the debates.
I watched snippets. I couldn't get
yeah.
the debates. I was in the air.
That's all I can stand to watch is snippets of the debate. So I don't like watching debates at all. First of all, I study the shit out of this shit. Oh, really seen the last lines. Asks your con where he got that shirt. Where did you get that shirt? That's a badass shirt.
Amazon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nice. Huh?
Like,
it was like $9.99.
Yeah, that's
even says Ukraine.
Ukraine. Nice. Wow. Yeah.
Who asked that? I'll send them one.
Real Dave Seaman.
Real Dave Seaman. I'll send you a shirt.
That's cool.
If I can find him.
I have his address, as it turns out. Yeah. So you'll send him this exact shirt.
Send this shirt.
Okay. Well, don't wash it
for $50.
For
don't wash it.
Don't wash it. I know, right? So Possum Nation, that's a very good point. Apparently, polls haven't changed much. People might still hate Trump's anti-democracy enough to vote for anyone here else. It's exactly my point. Is that 90% of the population, 90% of the population in America has already decided who they're going to vote for, and I would literally vote for the gum on the bottom of my shoe before I would vote for Trump. So, and I thought that before this whole Ukraine shit went down. Yeah. I mean, I remember I was at NASA, in the they have a cafe at NASA.
The NASA cafe?
No. Okay, it was a good guess, but here's the joke. Where do all the astronauts go at NASA after work? You know where they go?
No.
To the space bar.
Oh my God.
It's literally called the Space Bar, NASA Ames Research Center. So anyway, we were all hanging out there.
The space bar.
Yeah, the Space Bar. A bunch of computer nerds and not astronauts, but some astronauts in training and a lot of like engineers and scientists watching the election, the first Trump election.
Okay.
And we started off all everybody's happy, the beers are flowing and everything. And then it got kind of late. It was like 9:00 in California, and I got on my bike and rode home. It was about a couple of miles home, less than 2 miles home. And by the time I got home, like all hell had broken loose in the polls.
Really?
Yeah. And the next day at NASA, literally everybody looked like their mama and their dog just died. Like for like 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, So just anyway, so
been some pretty bad elections here.
Yeah, well, so anyway, so here's my feeling, my opinion about the debates. Okay. Which is, yes, Biden sucks, Trump sucks worse. Biden is better for Ukraine. Trump is absolutely a potential disaster for Ukraine.
If we could pin down his actual policy.
The 90, he's a wild card, but it's too wild of a wild card. K-Bell, no, he got it on Amazon, I believe. Yeah.
Amazonia.
Yeah, you might have bought it from an Amazon.
It was a Ukrainian vendor.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. There's starting to be a lot of, just like I found out that Ukraine is on Etsy now too.
Yeah,
where they didn't used to be.
Great mall tacos off of Etsy. They're spectacular.
Yeah, so Bell Cowart in our group turned me onto that Etsy. So anyway, the point is 90% of the electorate has already made their decisions, and these debates are not going to make a difference. There's 10. However, the big question is that 10% of the electorate who haven't decided. Okay, they haven't decided. They don't know, but they're not paying attention. They didn't watch these debates, and they're not going to start paying attention until about the middle of September, maybe early October.
Which is the next debate, right?
Right, exactly. So we just gotta hope and pray that Biden doesn't die and fucking gets his shit together. Whatever he has to do because we know that he can pull it together. Maybe have the debates at a different time, not
Okay, like first thing in the morning. Or
exactly, not past 7:30 in the evening. You know what I mean?
All right, what are we saying here then? Because it's like, okay, then he gets into office again, and at 7:30, just business closes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically, pretty.
Sorry, Kim Jong Un. He can take your call. It's past 7:30.
No, I mean, to be honest, let's face it. You're voting for President Harris. Listen, if he can just live to January 21st, that's all we got. That's all we're asking, Joe. Okay.
I think they want Kamala in office a lot less than they want Joe.
Oh, certainly. No, Kamala is not well liked.
But I think you're right, though. I think most people that watch debates have made up their mind and literally just watch the debate to watch their guy beat up on the other guy.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, I think Joe Biden met the expectations for Trump voters, and
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and Democrats are used to being disappointed. That's half of our life.
All this scuttlebutt that I'm hearing, because I'm watching like the after clips, and I'm trying to stay away from Fox News. But
yeah,
they seem to be prominent in my feed for some reason. But they're talking about Biden being replaced on the ticket and jumping right over Harris and not even having her run. So there's Gavin Newsom, I guess, in the corner.
I see everything that I have, and I'm glad you brought that up because it was the next thing I was talk about. Everything that I have read, which has been like a few articles and Midas Touch Network, which is not a YouTube channel, but it's like lawyer YouTube channel, and they've said that it's legally almost impossible for that to happen.
Really,
that's the thing. Is like it. There's all sorts of processes, and I'm not going to sit here and explain them all to you.
Sure.
But there's lots of processes that need to happen. And the fact that the people in all of these primaries have already voted for Biden, legally, those delegates are not supposed to be able to just choose whoever they want.
Gotcha.
They have, if Biden dies, or steps aside, they have to choose Kamala Harris or nobody, essentially, or new rules need to be written.
Who do you think would become vice president if that happened? If Harris was the one they ran for president?
Maybe she could pick Gavin Newsom as her vice president or something. I mean, I'm not saying Gavin Newsom is the perfect person, but he's popular, and he might be a pick, basically.
I don't know. I hear he's really unpopular in California.
Yeah, I'm. It's kind of like I was leaving when Gavin Newsom was coming in.
Oh, okay.
Is what I would say about it.
Oh, you lived in California?
Yeah. I was living there in 2000. So I lived in California I was born there, first of all.
Okay.
But then I lived in New Mexico and Arizona, and then I moved back to California in 2016 to 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, which was a bad mistake, but I was there.
Not the great years, yeah.
No.
But you did miss COVID.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. That's a strange situation. So
if Biden himself decides to step down, it could happen, is what they're saying.
Yeah. But legally, I just don't see there's a way that Gavin Newsom could become the actual candidate, or anyone else other than Kamala Harris could become the actual candidate, unless
the legal succession.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, to be honest with you, it's more likely Mike Johnson would become, because he's the next in line, right? So
you're right.
right? So,
the House.
I mean,
That's
so
funny.
like if Kamala Harris dies for some reason, Mike Johnson would take the duties of the president.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's more, that's more likely that Mike Johnson becomes.
So you're saying it could get significantly worse.
Yeah, and this is the next point that I really want to make, and I think that these are just some more articles about it. That's a separate thing. There's some more articles about the situation, and I want to bring it back around to Ukraine, because
Byron Daniels.
Europeans and Ukrainians should be fucking panicking right now. That's what I think is going to happen, and I think
They are.
Yeah,
The ones I've talked to so far that come to me
freaking out,
are very, very worried.
Exactly, like freaking like NASA on day one of Trump, people were having nervous sucking breakdowns, and I think
Did he scuttle NASA?
No, actually no. He
They worried about it.
They were worried about it, yeah, and I mean, in many ways, he created the Space Force, which
Space Force that everybody laughed at. Remember?
everybody laughed at. It's hard to say it with a straight face because it
really
sounds
is.
like a bad
Galaxy
Quest, Star Trek, Space Force. But
in fact, I thought they were going to get Tim Allen to be like the commanding.
It's what I mean. That's what I mean. But actually, I think ultimately maybe they'll change the name, but
Space Force
ultimately is probably a good thing. But yeah, just because of what Trump's advisors, his campaign advisors in terms for security, what they talked about this week. I don't know if any of you guys see that. Oh, that's interesting. Something blonde. The man had a cold. Everybody should calm down. People will vote for a ham sandwich for Trump. Well, that's kind of what I was saying.
Well, I think half of America is going to vote for Trump, and half of America is going to vote for Biden. Exactly what
exactly, and
we'll be nowhere again.
Yeah, and 10 Bell says Mike Johnson gag. Yeah, please don't gag on Mike Johnson. That's not not an image we want. Okay, so Bill says, I was talking to my daughter yesterday. If Trump is elected, I'm seriously considering leaving the country. Yeah, this is one of the few times where I've said, wow, I'm, this and maybe COVID, I was happy to be in Ukraine,
It wasn't that bad, just like it's not that bad every time someone gets elected that I didn't want in office, there's always people that say they're going to leave the country. Why? If you can't live with a little bit of adversity and conflict, I don't really like some of the presidents we've had, but I didn't want to leave the country.
Yeah.
It's my country. It's my homeland. I'm going to fight for it no matter what.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't hate on me.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you should mention because something blonde. Biden pulled ahead in the polls today. That's it. Yeah, I also don't like polls because they aren't designed to predict outcomes. No. But he pulled ahead. Interesting. Yeah, no, it's a funny you should mention. I left America. Now, keep in mind, I am actually very pro-America. Yeah. But I didn't like the direction that America was going under Bush.
Oh, well, a while ago.
Bush Jr. Bush the second.
Oh, the second one.
The second one. Yeah, and when Bush got reelected in 2004,
yes,
I left the country. Really? I went in 2005.
Yes, I'm out.
I'm out. And of course, it was a mistake. It didn't work out. But yeah, I moved to Ireland for almost 6 months.
No kidding.
Yeah, and mainly because I had always wanted to live in Europe. That was really the real.
Oh, so this was like the real chance for you to do so.
Yeah, and but the problem was, I was just getting my degree as a network engineer, and I went to Ireland because they had a very strong IT sector and like a 1% unemployment rate.
Yeah, that's right.
But the EU, right, like literally as I was flying over in the plane, the EU changed its laws to to reflect America's laws, because after 9/11 we made it harder for Europeans to come to America, and they took them a while to make the changes, but they decided to slap us back, and it just happened to be
right when you did it,
right when I was there. So karma bit my ass. And then I left America again, and the freaking war started. So anyway, it's karma. Yes. It's half the country will vote for fascism. Sorry. But I trust Americans. Independents that things depend on me, like me, are behind Biden. That's true. Looks like a lot of independents are behind Biden, but it's still going to be a crapshoot right up to the end. That's the thing. Yeah. So the real thing is we need to be prepared for Ukraine to lose all funding from the United States, because
isn't that up to Congress?
You would think so, but the way that Trump is saying, Ukraine, let's just.
He's saying that he can solve the war or end the war before he even steps into office, which is absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
that's a little grandiose, I think.
Yeah. So Trump has said, let's see. Trump claims he could end the war if reelected, and what he has said is that that he will force Ukraine and Russia to negotiate based on wherever things are at the point. Like he's actually said before he gets into office, he will begin this process.
Oh, she's right. The president can veto.
The president can, yeah. And I mean, you're right. Congress could foul it all up, especially if we have a Democratic Congress, and a Republican president.
Because from what I understand, the majority of Republicans are very pro-Ukraine.
Oh, Richard Stevens. No, I need to address this right now.
Yeah.
Richard Stevens. Yes, you're absolutely right, Richard. And it's totally my fault. I am behind on orders, you guys, on Shopify. And the oldest order I have right now is a month. So, Richard, I apologize. I had to basically, some items were on back order, and I don't know which order you had, but a bunch of items were on back order, and they had to be mailed to me, and it's taking extra time. So, Richard, I truly apologize for that. Thank you for bringing it up. Guys, if anybody wants to volunteer with to help with the work that I'm doing, I need help managing. Like, wow, you guys ordered a ton of stuff. Thank you very much from my page, and a bunch of items, and a lot of these items, it turns out they were on back order. And so I'm hoping that when I get back home, I'm actually going to be sending out some things this week, and I've already sent out some items, but apparently not to you, Richard. I'm hoping that when I get back home at the end of this next week, that those items will be waiting for me to send to you. So thank you very much for asking. Anybody else, I will have the same answer for you if you ask about things that you've ordered, but I just wanted to let you know that I see your orders. They're there. And I need to hire probably someone to just process orders all day, because if you guys actually start sending money in a big way, I'm probably gonna hire a Ukrainian, to be honest.
That's a great idea.
To just handle a lot of orders, because if I'm going and meeting with volunteer groups, I've got another invitation possibly to go and meet with another volunteer group in the Kyiv area.
Excellent.
Next week, and it's like, it just pulls me in so many different directions. So thank you for bringing it up. Okay, but let's continue on. And thank you for bringing it up in the live stream, because sometimes people send me emails and I miss them. It's like we have so many different platforms now. You've got you've got Facebook and YouTube and Discord and Telegram
WhatsApp.
and WhatsApp and what's the one that we use? Signal. And Signal. So anyway,
think about that for a second.
and so it's always difficult to keep on top of all of that. So the next big news is this, and some of you asked about some of you asked me to comment on this, and I think that this is an incredibly positive thing to have happened. I think it's amazing. I think it needed to happen for a long time, and I feel like it's probably going to be the first of many commanders, all the way down to lieutenant level, okay, that are going to need to be cleared out or just sent back to training, and what I really find encouraging is this is the guy that replaced this guy. Okay, so this Yuri Sodol, okay, is basically a Soviet army trained Soviet thinker, okay, Soviet commander who just thinks in that way, and this guy is not, okay, and I'm not saying that just because he looks younger. It's because Hanatov, I think that's how you pronounce it. Hanatov graduated from the Kharkiv Institute of Tank Forces. He began his military service in 2001. In 2014, during the Russian takeover of Crimea, he refused to violate his military pledge to his country. So he was actually in the East when everything happened, so the point here is that he's got a lot more Western training, new thinking, new approaches, and I'm not saying he's going to be perfect, but I think that just not coming out of that Soviet army system is just going to be just a huge positive.
Oh yeah, dude! All those guys, they all thought they were Zhirkov,
right?
Sending as many people to their death as possible,
right?
Jam up the machine guns. It's ridiculous.
And I'm not in a position to talk about it yet, but I had a conversation last night actually with some guys in the Legion and guys who were in the Legion and went on to join like this brigade and that brigade and everything, and they're just talking about how the bureaucracy and shitty commanders, and how a lot of foreign guys come here and they don't get paid properly, and it's a huge problem. And now well, I think it's a good thing, as of May 18th of this year, there's this the law that if you come and you sign a contract, you have to come for 6 months.
Yeah.
So people have already been thrown in jail. I mean,
wasn't like that before?
No. You could come and sign a contract and just turn around and go home the next day.
Nah.
And nobody could stop you.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's terrible. It's terrible. But there's been plenty of guys, from the conversation I had just last night, that not just in the Legion, but who have come and signed a contract and then gone out to the front line, or even just in training, and been like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, and then they want, yeah, exactly. No, it's okay. We do say fuck around here. And so, there have been like Americans actually, get arrested and put in that when they get arrested, they don't. They're not sent to the front line as cannon fodder. They're put into penal legions, but they're not sent home, and that's so that it's a big
So if they're
change.
sent to penal legion, that means they can actually get another chance to fight.
Yeah, I mean they're probably digging ditches, probably digging trenches, what have you. But it's an interesting thing that because I wanted to bring up. It was an article here, and I think I was going to talk about it a little bit later on, but I would like to. Oh yeah, this one. I think it's worth talking about it right now. So this is from earlier in the week, but it's talking about. I was worried about this because Ukraine passed a law that prisoners were going to be allowed to fight. On the front line.
Non-violent offenders.
Right,
Correct?
non-violent offenders, and I don't know. There's a bunch of other rules about it. I can't remember what it is. And so this brought up a lot of concern because Russia's doing the same bullshit.
Yeah, truly.
Here's the big difference. Okay, Ukraine only has a total of about 27,000 people in prison.
In the country.
Yeah,
man, they're doing something right.
That's yeah. So it's what was the thing I said earlier today? It's like spitting on a fish.
Like spitting on a fish. Like a cat's meow.
Yeah. So it's not the game changer that it's not like Russia with their millions in the gulag or whatever. And so this article is very interesting, and I've read other articles along the same lines. So so they're talking about one particular guy. Alexander says he has volunteered to swap his prison cell for a trench for 2 reasons. The softly spoken 43-year-old wants revenge against the Russians who've killed several of his family, but after nearly half his life behind bars, he also wants to change his direction. So so
they used to offer that to us. I remember back when I went in the army, it was jail or the army. Not that I were offering me this,
right?
But there was a lot of
Other
guys who offered jail or the military service. God knows we need the troops.
Yeah, and you can you just imagine though, you're sitting in a jail cell and you find out that your entire family or some members of your family have just been killed by Russians.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can do about it. Like.
Yeah, that would inspire me to knock off a few heads.
Oh, it's awful. I mean, I would be losing my freaking mind. I'm losing my mind here anyway.
Yeah, you are.
Not being able to do shit, And
well,
so
I don't know about, you're doing a lot, man. I don't know about doing what you want, but you're doing a lot.
Fair enough. So yeah, I mean, I was concerned that, or some people, let's say, had some concerns that it was going to be just like Russia, with storm brigades and human waves.
Yeah, Russia wanted the worst criminals to go for 2 reasons. One, they knew they'd be motivated to commit war crimes, and 2, they would be, if they died, then that's one less scumbag they have to feed in a prison cell.
Yeah.
I question all of Russia's motives.
Yeah, well, with good reason. With good reason. I mean, but I mean, honestly, this is one of the generals who was accused of human waves, using those types of tactics, which is just standard Soviet doctrine. I don't think that they think anything of it, and I think that the reason I'm bringing this up hand in hand with this is I think that I'd like to think that things in the Ukrainian army are changing positively and for the better.
Fantastic.
I don't know if that has come to all parts of the army, and certainly not to all parts of the International Legion.
Sure. But let's hope with new leadership, there's new leadership by example.
Right.
It might be able to inspire some people to become commanders on a lower level that are
Exactly.
fantastic and dynamic and everything that the Ukraine army needs.
Exactly. And I think that like the law about you basically have to become a citizen. Now I just found this out. You have to become a citizen to uh, have a command position in the army. In other words,
Okay.
foreigners in the army can't even rise to the level of sergeant
Unless they become a citizen.
unless they are a citizen. I think that's going to change.
I think you're probably
I think
right.
that's going to change. Yeah.
So I think to become a Ukrainian citizen, a lot of guys have to disown or renounce their
In many cases, yeah.
their American citizenship.
Or whatever citizenship they have, yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult to be a dual citizen, at least in the United States of
Yeah,
America.
and I have no intention of doing that. So, yeah. So, but I think that, I mean, I don't want to paint a rosy picture or like use any kind of rose-colored glasses here because North Korea sending military construction and engineering forces. Bullshit. I do not believe those guys are going to be behind the lines somewhere. I think that Russia will throw them straight into. I mean,
why wouldn't they? They're meat.
Yeah. North Korea has approximately 2 million soldiers, and okay, this is not an advertisement for Ukrainian water, but it's. I mean, what did you say? It tastes like motor oil.
Yes.
Yeah, so
you got some local water.
This comes from this is actually from the other side of the mountains, so it's from like Transcarpathia.
Okay,
basically.
so Drahovich, places like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where. Polyana Kvasova. Polyana Kvasova, and they have different numbers on there. I just grabbed two of them.
A 5 and an 8.
A 5 and an 8, and they're supposedly have different things. I think these ones, I translated it, and these are both for hangover.
Okay, so they probably taste like motor oil.
Yeah, they do, and they are really gassy. So
gassy motor oil.
I'm like, okay. Anyway, Scruffy. Oh, hey, Scruffy. Thanks for coming, my man. How's Sweden these days? Ukraine would be smart to let foreign fighters go up the ranks. Thank you. I agree. Mission command is effective in only foreign, or at least, in a limited way. Maybe a part of the international legion. Real Dave Seaman says Chernobyl. Yeah. Cheryl, that's a funny statement. If they had allowed RFK Jr. into the debate, it would have made Biden look good. Okay. Yeah, no, but seriously, I think, Scruffy, you have a really good idea. And I think that what needs to happen is that, and what I'm actually going to try and make happen with the people I was speaking to last night and some of my friends who are in the Legion and or former members of the Legion who are still serving, is to write like a petition to say, hey, we need to make these changes, and make it anonymous or put it in my name. They can't do anything to me. I mean, a lot of people in the army here are, even in any army, they're very afraid of like some kind of reprisal.
Oh yeah.
If they say anything bad. I'm not. KK's GG. Motor oil has got to make your hangover seem less troublesome by comparison. Yeah, that's like my grandfather used to always tell me when I had a headache. He would tell me to go hit my thumb with a hammer. Yeah. So,
well, the reason they drink this motor oil laced water is for everything. Just so you know, but the number one reason that I hear here around these areas is for stones. Any type of stones.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other thing about some water is for different purposes. There's some water that you're not supposed to allow to touch your teeth.
Yes.
Because apparently it can, mess up your teeth or something.
This is not the water I want to drink.
Yeah. But it makes sense. If it's for kidney stones, that's going to break up calcium.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to let that shit touch your teeth.
The real motor oil water they get straight out of the wells, they drink with a straw.
That's probably exactly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah. Well, okay, so just so you know, be talking about where we are exactly in Ukraine, or what Shere Khan is doing here.
No, thank you.
Just suffice to say that he's volunteering with an organization. Yeah, that's as detailed as we need to get, And I think Cheryl mentioned something about a Korean barbecue in Ukraine.
Oh,
no.
That's
I mean,
terrible.
it's sad, but I mean, unfortunately, sad but true.
Yes.
But the thing is I think we're going to see a lot of deserters, North Korean deserters.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they realize how much better it is to live here, even in the middle of a war zone. What were you saying, that like they'll probably get their first Russian MRE and
You'd be like, oh my God, this is like a week's worth of food.
I could feed my family.
True story.
Yeah. So, it could it's already backfiring, because South Korea is going to start probably, basically, if North Korea does this, South Korea is going to start sending weapons directly.
Unbelievable. So we'll have yet another proxy war.
Yeah,
between the Koreas in Ukraine.
Yeah, on multiple levels.
All we need is Hamas and Israel to show up.
Yeah. This is, I've played many games of Civilization that went exactly like this.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Let's hope you're not prophetic.
I know.
Of course, there were good outcomes in the.
I know. I always won, but it was awful for the country in the middle, sad to say. So, yeah.
Well, we certainly don't want to bring any more death and destruction to Ukraine. They've got their hands full.
It's
right now.
Yeah, it's a problem that hopefully nobody's forgetting that Trump withdrew from the nuclear deal that would have kept North Korea from getting him for at least 10 years. I did forget about that, something blonde. There's so many crazy things that happened under Trump that I just lost track. I was just like, it was every week, something crazy. Okay. Aussie T, what's the source for this claim? North Korean troops. I've heard it, but where does it come from? I'm sorry, I don't have the reference to that, but it's being talked about on multiple sources. And
well, Euromaidan is who put that out, correct?
No, it came from South Korean TV channel reports that North Korea may deploy large-scale military engineering forces to occupy Donetsk Oblast as early as July 2024. The channel cites. Oh.
Yeah, it's in Arabic.
Oh.
Sorry, Kiev.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh, it's for Kiev.
No, it's.
Oh, the air alert is over. Well, thank you, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, may the force be with you.
Yep. The channel cites a South Korean government official as its source. TV Chosun reported, citing a South Korean government official, these forces would assist in rebuilding infrastructures in occupied Donetsk. Yeah, right. I do not believe that. But I do believe, I have been saying for some time that this was going to happen, unfortunately. Yes. Okay, Michelle Ferguson, I contribute to drone-dropped Choco Pies just this side of the surrender line. Yeah, that's a big reason why North Koreans have defected, is because they discovered American Choco Pies.
No,
yeah.
No
It's like there's been like actual North Korean defectors who I've been watching videos in the past few months just for kicks of North Koreans who have come to America, and they're like, oh, what?
Oh, I love those videos.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and at least one of them I recall saying, oh, Choco Pie,
Pie.
Yeah.
Well, they're sending their own form of Choco Pie in the balloons.
yeah. Maybe the North Koreans will bring some of their trash balloons. But that does bring up something important that I wanted to make a mention of, and I hopefully saved it in my. Oh my gosh, did I not put it? Maybe I cut it out of my list because I was trimming the fat. Yeah, I think I did. So Russia is using. Let's see if I can find it here. Russia drones Chasiv Yar. Let's see if I can find the. So I'm not sure I can find the thing about it, but basically, oh yeah, this is Oh, it's Forbes. They're going to give me a. Okay, so this article, which is paywalled, and I'm not going to deal with it right now. Basically, they're saying that the Russian troops in Chasiv Yar are mainly being supplied by drones. So in other words,
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw that.
yeah. So they're dropping food to these troops who are in Chasiv Yar, who are basically isolated.
Yeah, they're surrounded.
If I were a drone operator, which I would like to be out there, the first thing I would do is say, maybe we could drop them some food.
In the form of hand grenades.
Or I mean, you fly around the front lines because you have to come out. If you have a drone that's coming from the Ukrainian side, they're going to say, "Oh, it's hand grenades. Everybody hide." But go around the backside, fly, and then drop your choco pies or whatever it is. But inside of the choco pie is a hand grenade.
Oh,
is the
I
point.
like this.
That's the point I was trying to make.
James, why waste a good choco pie?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean,
Fair enough.
We could entice Koreans with this.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true.
If we'd only known it would take chocolate to get North Koreans to defect.
But yeah, I mean, I really do think that there's a lot of scary things happening, though. I mean, to be honest with you, you got 2 million North Koreans. They could spare 500,000. Okay, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Ukraine. The possibility of Trump getting elected and the possibility of him withdrawing all funding from Ukraine or trying to. And
it's possible, but there's also a possibility that most politicians will say anything to get elected and lie through their teeth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is the hope that we're clinging to,
Try to do something.
And then, moving on with the interesting thing about you were talking about a proxy and yet another proxy war.
Yeah.
I wonder about, was this really, a lot of people have been saying that this was like, oh, well, North Korea is sending people, so now the Pentagon moves to allow U.S. military contractors.
I think, honestly, the Pentagon just got tired of dealing with the lobbies that wanted to make money over here. So anytime you get U.S. military contractors involved, there's just tons of money involved.
Yeah.
I can speak from experience.
Yeah.
And it's usually not the greatest. I don't know. I'm torn on that. I think there's a good reason. Well, right now there's a complete prohibition on any U.S. military,
right,
any government employee being in Ukraine,
right,
quote unquote. Not to say that they haven't been spotted, very close to the border,
surreptitiously, yeah.
But I don't know. I'd hate to see for this to become another Iraq. And that's kind of, in my opinion, kind of what ruined Iraq was the private contractors come in there with no rules. So
doing things they shouldn't.
Look what Wagner did.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It would be like our own version of Wagner.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
But we could use the people too.
I think it's that's interesting, Richard Stevens. Trump's plan is to make it illegal to donate to Ukraine. Oh, that would be. I
haven't heard that one.
I mean, I don't know if Trump really has a plan other than for himself. I don't know. The point is, talking about these U.S. military contractors, I think it's a real slippery slope. Ultimately, though, I'm actually in favor of it.
Well, Manu is saying actually there are contractors in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Already.
However,
no,
they're not.
I think they're still trying to figure out this policy. They're still trying to work this out. So I think that they're going to come in with a very narrow definition of what contractors can be here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a non-conflict or a non-lethal action, non-direct action.
And my opinion on that is that it's related to this right here. So now this is coming from Jake Sullivan, but F-16s are to be based in Ukraine, not abroad. Whereas previously we've heard that they were going to be based in Romania. And it sounds like somebody said, no, we can't do that.
Probably somebody in Romania.
I don't know. I think actually Romania was the ones who made the invitation. But maybe somebody in NATO said,
Oh,
we don't want NATO getting that involved because that would, if Russia decided to do a strike on the F-16 repair base, then that would be a strike on NATO, and that would be Article 5.
well,
So,
of course, but Russia would have a choice not to do the strike.
yeah, that's true. But but I think that Mr. Anti-Escalation Sullivan here, or some, hit that crowd. That crowd was like, no, it'll turn into World War III if that happens.
I hate to tell them, but it already is World War
Yeah,
III.
exactly.
And the quicker we nip this thing in the bud, the better for everybody, in my opinion. And I
Yeah.
mean everybody by that'll mean less Ukrainians dying, but also less Russians dying. If I'm allowed to say that. Just my opinion.
So in other words, rip the Band-Aid off.
Absolutely
Yeah.
correct. We should have done that from the
Yeah.
very beginning.
Yeah.
There should have been F-16s all over the skies of
Right.
Ukraine on February 23rd.
Right. And some people have said we are prolonging the war.
Yep.
And technically that is correct. This whole like slippery slope approach that we are using, which that's what this is. Okay, this contractors thing, because what's going to happen? Yeah, they're going to have non-military contractors, non-combat contractors, but they're going to need people to protect
That's
those
exactly correct.
contractors, aren't they? Or if they send them in there, then they're going to get attacked at some point by something or someone, and then they're going to say, "Oh, I guess we need to send military contractors in," and then trickle.
Yeah, but that trickle is what's killing Ukraine.
Exactly. Yeah, because
Which is a finite number.
Yeah, and because it allows Russia to adapt.
True.
I think that's
That's
a
a very
big
good point.
part of it. If you're just what is it, like iocane powder? There's a poison that you can take that'll kill you if you
Take too much.
if you take even this a littlest tiniest little bit, but if you take like the tiny microscopic, and then you can slowly work your way up to become immune to it.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same kind of thing. So you're building resistance. It's like over application of antibiotics.
No, absolutely correct.
Like if you just take one antibiotic pill, all you're doing is making it worse. If you have to take your full round.
Yeah.
Right, to wipe it out.
But only take antibiotics as a last resort as well.
Yeah. Well,
we need to do something. That's the statement for the last 2+ years is why aren't we doing more? And you cannot speak to anybody, in my opinion. I haven't spoken to anybody in Ukraine that hasn't brought that up. Well, why isn't the world doing more? Why has the world forgot us? Why is the world letting this happen to us? That sucks. Especially those months that we weren't supplying weapons to Ukraine.
Oh,
that was
man.
really hard conversations to have.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope is what we're going down basically, and it's kind of like both sides are like, no, that's not true. Russia is full on. They think that I don't know. They think that if they keep pushing, that eventually we're going to back down,
which is ridiculous,
and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's
Kiev Post YT channel. What is that?
There's a Kiev Post YouTube channel. Oh yeah, there is. There's a Kiev Post YouTube channel. What somebody said? Does anyone have an opinion on the Kiev Post YouTube channel? I have watched it occasionally. I watch both and read both Kiev Post and Kiev Independent, and they have both set up their own. Yes, thank you, Holy Oblation. I did just make a Princess Bride reference. That was very obscure. Good job getting that. But yeah, I mean, I've been watching them both, and I don't really have an opinion on them. I think they're both okay in general. I like the Kiev Independent just because Kiev Post is owned by an oligarch, and a Turkish oligarch actually. And the way that Kiev Independent got started is the Turkish oligarch at the Kiev Post decided to fire everyone in 2021, late 2021, and fire everyone at the because he didn't like something, and just decided to fire everybody and hire all new staff at the Kiev Post.
Lovely.
And so all of the Kiev Independent reporters who'd been there for years and years and years decided we're going to go start our own paper and we're going to call it the Kyiv Independent. And that's where the Kyiv Independent came from. And they do a good job. So I like the Kyiv Independent because they're underdogs. But, I like, K-Bell, thanks for popping in. I know you're up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So,
wow.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. But, and also, Catherine, thank you for sending me that information about the Australian Ukraine organization. I'm very keenly interested in this.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It was good reading material, put me to sleep.
Oh yeah, I sent it to you, didn't I? I sent you like their entire constitution.
You did.
Yeah, because that's the type of stuff I like to read.
Well, then you and I have different tastes.
Yeah.
Definitely not a cliffhanger.
But yeah, I'm studying that a lot, Catherine. So thank you for sending that to me because I really feel that this is something I want to discuss tomorrow. If we're able to do a live stream tomorrow, I don't know. I'm hoping. But I want to talk about foreign veterans of Ukraine and how to help them, how to support them, and how to organize to do so. And also organizing in the face of the potential of the nightmare scenario happening, where Trump comes in on day one and he says, no more funding for Ukraine, or whatever people think he's going to say. I want us to be prepared for that. And I don't think
ironic, though, don't you think? I mean, you've got a guy who thinks or who claims to be a populist president. And a populist president would be someone who would think it does the will of the people.
Yeah.
And the will of the people in the United States is truly support Ukraine.
Yeah.
So
it
doesn't make any.
I think he tries to kind of glaze it over like he's not totally anti-Ukraine, but just like ATP Geopolitics has said and others, when you pay attention to the people around him and like his sons, his family, advisors and things, the things that they're saying about Ukraine, and they're like full on anti-Ukraine conspiracy theory, let's all go suck Putin's dick kind of a thing. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, actually. So yeah. Yeah, did you get that one?
Yeah, I got
all right.
One.
So, but this is the kind of things that Russia does and thinks that America is going to back down. And Russia warns it can respond to drone flights over the Black Sea. Well, haven't they already done that? Didn't they knock a drone out of the air? Yeah. And at some point, Kamala Harris is going to get pissed off. I don't think. Okay, what am I saying? I don't know. Joe Biden. Okay. Well, I've talked enough bad stuff about Joe Biden. That's what I'm saying.
There's more stuff. There's more bad stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So, Something Blonde, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Richard, Trump invited the Taliban to Camp David. That is true. After he lost the 2020 election and made the deal with them to withdraw the U.S. out of Afghanistan. I didn't know that he made that. I don't remember what the timeline was. I know it was a complete shit show, and a lot of people have said it was Trump's plan that he made, and then Biden followed through on it. Mr. Nobody, I criticized the Kiev Post guest's opinion about Ukraine hitting Russian oil refineries, causing the price of oil to go up, which isn't factual. They blocked you from commenting.
Wow.
Okay. That's interesting.
That bothers me.
Yeah.
It's like, I get trolled the same way you do.
Right.
Well, not in the amount.
Yeah, in the volume.
But I've had, the people pipe in, my beautiful videos of my dog and things like that. F Ukraine, this, that, and the other. And my first reaction, of course, is to bring it down, is to delete the comments. But then I actually leave them up because, one, I want people to see what they're up against.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that they, that the other side not only get their voice, but
every once in a while,
know who's out to get you.
Yeah, every once in a while, and so I think that I think
you treat trolls pretty well, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because you invite them in. And
That's
that
true.
takes all the wind out of the sails.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think Mr. Nobody. Uh, a lot of Ukrainians can be very reactionary. And I mean reactionary in the sense that reactive. I don't even know what that's about. Some alarm. Um, but it can be very reactive and very much like. I mean, there's a lot of trauma here, quite frankly, and I've seen it not just from Ukrainians but from foreign soldiers here who freak out about stuff over nothing, and we're going to have a long legacy here of that.
Yeah, that's really sad.
And
trying to convince a Slavic man that he needs treatment for PTSD is going to be exciting.
yeah. And Real Dave Seaman made a point, probably swept up in the flood of trolls on a channel like that gets. Yeah, it's probably they're just clicking anybody who says anything even slightly negative, boom, boom, boom,
That's
boom, boom.
Point.
But it's not an excuse. I mean, I think that especially if you're trying to make a well-reasoned argument, and let's see. Richard Stevens, a man from Uzbekistan, was extradited from Ukraine and arraigned Wednesday in Buffalo on charges that he allegedly stole millions of dollars in cryptocurrency from a local.
No kidding.
Real Dave Seaman says, could you politely ask the dude wearing my shirt to get a bit closer to the mic? Oh, it's not. I thought it was because you really like his shirt and you wanted to just see his shirt better.
Just want to hear my voice.
Okay, I see. All right.
I'll move.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. Speaking about trolls, I wanted to just show an example. If I can bring it up, I will. Every once in a while, I get maybe someone who's not a troll per se, but someone who I think genuinely is just expressing an incorrect idea, but it's their honest opinion. They're not, they're not a Russian troll. I mean, I think that a lot of the Russians who are commenting are also making it is their honest opinion. Okay, but you're never going to change their minds. They're a lost cause. But the reason I'm bringing up my page and going through all of this is because I had one of my for some reason, I don't know why anyone watches any of my streams or shorts or videos. Honestly, it's a mystery to me. But this one in particular, and I've mentioned this before, kind of went viral, and I've had literally thousands of troll comments on here, literally thousands. But I had one that someone commented and said, I just support Russia. That's all they said. And for whatever reason, I decided to respond to that. And God, I don't think anyway, it has turned into this whole freaking giant ass conversation now of me. And it appears to be a woman living in some Muslim country. I'm not sure which one. Okay. Okay. I swear to God, it's going to be in here somewhere. And she ended up we've been having a whole discussion going back and forth. I don't think okay. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the discussion that I want. Here she said 30 replies. So she says, she spells just wrong. Okay. I just support Russia. And I was like, why? And we have been having this whole discussion going back and forth and back and forth. And it's, at one point I said, so you support evil. It was a bit harsh, but in general, she's, I don't know where she is exactly, but it's Rafah. She must be Palestinian. And
there's a Rafah in Saudi, there's Rafah in Iraq.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's somewhere. But I mean, she actually said, sorry if I made you angry, and and so we've been having a really interesting, open, and honest discussion. It has been heated,
Doesn't matter, man. You're making humans out of each other.
Exactly right. And I really, actually really enjoy it, and we're like, her idea is that NATO is bad, and that she says, but I feel that NATO is deliberately pitting you, meaning she's talking about Ukraine and Russia, I feel that NATO is deliberately pitting you against each other, and when you are weak, NATO will attack you.
As in Ukraine.
Yes.
Interesting.
Or that Ukraine and Russia are the same, and NATO will attack us as the same being, and that is the mindset. And so I'm just trying to go through step by step every little thing that she says. Yeah, Manu, that's a fair point. A woman allowed to use internet in a Muslim country.
It's definitely not Saudi.
But also, what was brought home to me in this conversation, and the conversation I had yesterday, is people have a different value and different regard for and interpretation of freedom. And I haven't told you this yet, but on the train here, okay, I happened to sit down across from a Chinese woman.
Okay.
That's the second Chinese person I know. Not my ex-wife. It was not my ex-wife. But, I do know some Chinese words. But the problem is the only Chinese words I know are like, la ji, which is really bad.
Okay.
Okay, is what I'm
So
saying.
you're not using your Chinese, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So, and other than that, I know like ni hao, shishi, duzi, and some others. So, let's see. Oh, yes. Wait.
I'm trying to figure out who I look like.
The corner box is so small. I thought I would throw in should we make it full size now? Let's go. Actually, I can go like this.
It says something about it. You have something look-alike on your channel. I didn't catch who they think I look like.
Oh,
but I'm gonna.
Gavin Newsom.
I look like Gavin Newsom.
I don't know. Anyway, so it was a very interesting conversation that we had. Because we had 4 hours sitting across from each other, and most of the time she was on WeChat doing her stuff. But then she would just suddenly come up and just ask me a question: "What do Americans think about China?"
Well, I guess it depends on which Americans you ask.
Yeah, exactly. And I told her what I thought, and I said, "But don't like." I'm like not a normal American,
No, you're not.
Most Americans. First of all, I said most Americans don't think about China unless they happen to turn over their plastic plates or bowls or something and see, made in China, and that's about as much as Americans think about China.
True story.
But I told her I feel that China is a corrupt country that has no freedom. And, I believe in democracy and I believe in freedom. And that's one of the reasons why I live in Ukraine. And I do also feel that Ukraine is a more free country than most of the United States, most of America, in many respects.
I cannot argue with you. After spending this much time here, I'm sad to say that. But I mean, there is a certain level of freedom, and people treat each other better here than they do in the United States.
Oh, Peter Zion. Yeah, you do kind of have a Peter Zion look, but your hair's too short.
Who's Peter Zion?
He's like the new prophet of the global apocalypse kind of.
Sweet. I want to be him.
Yeah, he's predicted 19 of the last 3 economic meltdowns.
19.
So, but no, he had some really good things. He's a geopolitics guy. He's had some good things to say, but sometimes he's a little bit sky is falling.
Gotcha.
Kind of.
Well, I'm definitely not the sky is falling guy.
Yeah, you're like the good twin brother to his evil twin.
I'll be his good doppelganger.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go. KK's GG. Too many Americans think of China. I wish my damn Temu order would get here. Yeah, that's about the extent of it. I think that just like Russia, Russians spend a lot more time thinking about America than Americans do thinking about Russia. And I think the same is true for Chinese. They're like, Americans, we gotta beat the Americans, we gotta catch them, and Americans don't care.
It's because we're ahead.
Yeah, I guess.
Looking back, unfortunately.
Yeah, perhaps. But it was just a really interesting experience. Now, what was more interesting was why was this Chinese woman on the train? And so it turned out she was headed to Moldova.
Okay.
To catch a plane eventually to go back to China. Very interesting experience she had. She spent the last 2 years living in Kharkiv.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. She signed up to get her teaching degree, education degree, which is something we had in common. She's a biology teacher.
Oh, no kidding.
She signed up to get her teaching degree online during COVID. And I guess probably because Ukraine was the cheapest and you can do it anywhere. And she spoke passable English. And so she decided to get her teaching degree from Kharkiv University.
Nice.
After COVID, however, when COVID officially ended, which almost coincided with the start of the war, she could not complete her degree without coming to Ukraine. So in 2022, in the worst part of 2022, when Kharkiv was like being directly attacked, she had to come to Kharkiv University to complete her teaching degree.
You imagine that gives you like massive cred when it comes to telling your college story. My college story sucks compared to that. I mean, I was in a pretty bad part of LA at certain times, but it's a big deal. I didn't have to go to a war zone to get my degree.
Yeah, and can you imagine though, speaking of getting an education degree, can you imagine the education that this Chinese woman got? I mean, there's Chinese fighting on the Russian side.
Yep.
Her school, the actual building that she went to classes in, was hit by a Russian missile.
Jesus.
And I
she
mean,
gets to go home with this.
Yeah, and she's going to go home now and tell these stories to, people she talks to in China. And
I hope she gets away with it.
I hope so too. I hope that she is allowed to. And that's why I was trying to speak about, you don't have any freedom there and you can't say what you want. She was like, I don't feel that. I don't believe that, And my experience with not all, but many Chinese, I mean, if you think about it, like even like Russians, even Americans, like in their day-to-day life, they go to freaking Starbucks and they watch their soap operas on TV. And what do they need free speech for? What do they need to know about politics for? What do they even need to vote for? They don't care about any of those things.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. Apathy.
Yeah.
Apathy is the killer in democracy.
Yeah. And it is. And that is where we get to this place where we have the oldest people to have ever run for freaking office, running for office, running for the highest office in the land. And it's not just that, it's at all levels of American democracy. It's too many freaking, not just old people, but the same old, with the same old ideas.
I can't argue with you, man. We need somebody like, from the people.
I'm sure that you don't entirely agree with Bernie Sanders. He's actually older than Joe Biden, but at least he had different ideas.
He's more cognitively present.
Yeah, I mean, I will say he has definitely declined. I wouldn't necessarily. Well, I think I said earlier I would have preferred him to Trump, but I would prefer him to Biden. But I don't think that he should necessarily run for president. I'm glad. Okay, I don't know if I'm glad he didn't, but the point is. New ideas. Okay. And the one thing that I will say, the big reason that people, I think, are attracted to Donald Trump is because he has a lot of new ideas. At least they're new within our lifetime. I think they're not, if you know something a little bit about history, especially like the history of the 1930s, in not just Germany, but also America, there were populists who are secretly fascist, basically. And that's what he is. And people who, they don't know history, so they don't know that is a thing.
I'm still looking for a good definition of fascism, because when I think of fascism, I think of Benito Mussolini and the fasci, or going back to Caesar, or a very restrictive form of government that tries to own everything. But I'm way off on that. I'm tired of this whole idea of people. There was this trend, I don't know if you remember, for a little while, about punching a Nazi. Hey, we're going to go out and punch a Nazi, ha ha ha. Well, come to Ukraine. There's real Nazis that we're fighting against in Russia. So now's your opportunity. If you really want to punch a Nazi, put your money where your mouth is. And come over here and we can fight some real fascism.
For sure. No, I mean, I think that both parties. I mean, I said, I said Clinton was a fascist in the 90s.
Did you really?
Yeah, shows you where my mindset is. But I think that both parties. It doesn't matter. America as a whole country is inevitably slipping and sliding into fascism by way of apathy.
Yeah,
And it's
totally.
apathy, is depoliticization of people is what allows these would-be fascist populist dictators to slowly take over.
No, I can't argue. It's when the rhetoric starts saying we need to just destroy the other party. That's when
Right.
I get afraid.
Right.
We need parties. We need.
Unfortunately, the Republican Party has been saying that type of thing for more than 20 years, at least in some parts.
It's ridiculous. Dude.
It's
all who you listen to. I mean, everybody's got their own Marjorie. Taylor Greene.
Yeah, exactly. What parts of it? Yeah. Anyway, the point is, this discussion with this Chinese woman was just really fascinating. I mean, who has that experience of, but the thing is what she said was, Ukraine is really, really safe.
Yeah.
Even in the middle of this war, she said, I never felt, and it's crazy to hear her say this because Chinese people are actually pretty concerned with safety. It's a big thing. She was like, yeah, I never felt unsafe.
I had that conversation today.
Really?
With my team members.
Really?
Because they were asking me about where I'm from.
Yeah.
So what's it like in New Mexico? Because they're hearing about the border crisis, things like this. Is it really that dangerous? I said, oh yeah, absolutely. But it's true. I feel safer in Ukraine, even when there's air raid sirens and bombs coming in, than I do back home in the United States. And that's why.
Well, I mean, I lived 15
war,
years in Albuquerque, and
it's my hometown.
I never felt safe there.
No, man, you should.
I mean, if anybody's ever watched Breaking Bad,
it's nothing. It's much worse.
That's what I mean. Breaking Bad makes Albuquerque look good.
Yeah.
I was a science teacher in Albuquerque when Breaking Bad came out.
What school?
I taught on Laguna Puebla.
Oh,
so
the poorest of the poor.
The poorest of the poor, yeah.
That's right.
But that is actually the location when he drives his motorhome out to the middle of the desert to cook meth. It's on Laguna Pueblo. That's where I was a science teacher, and I actually owned a motorhome in Albuquerque. And
Laguna is the home of the first and only Jewish tribal president.
Really?
Yeah, was in Laguna.
Really?
Oh, they had a Jew as their chief, or the president of the tribe, I guess you would call it. I don't know what they call it out there.
Yeah. Oh, so Cheryl says, I feel perfectly. I imagine you meant perfectly safe in Tucson. Yeah, maybe. I guess. Yeah, but
Arizona is not New Mexico, and there's a reason why people move to Arizona and don't move to New Mexico. And number one reason I think is probably lack of opportunity, but number two reason would be crime.
Yeah. I thought it had something to do with Bugs Bunny. But,
that's the only reason people know where New Mexico is. That and the atomic bomb.
Completely.
But one of your viewers said, "Sure, Khan for president."
Yeah. Why not?
I'm not sure you'd like that. All the money would just be diverted to Ukraine. No more social.
Right.
It would all come to Ukraine.
Oh, yeah. Richard Stevens, I hate that show made meth look legit. Yeah, well, enough about our horrible past.
What happened to New Mexico, Anna asks.
Yeah. Oh, what happened?
I can tell you directly what happened.
What happened to New Mexico? I mean,
it's what didn't happen to New Mexico. It's literally I think it's the only state in the union where we still have slave owners in power.
Yeah. So it's the most, well, no, it's not the most corrupt state, but it's definitely the most corrupt state in the West.
Well, I had an attorney friend from Manhattan, and he was talking to me about corruption in New Mexico. I said, "What are you talking about? You're from Manhattan, for God's sakes. New York can't compare to New Mexico." He goes, "Yeah, but," he goes, "at least we try to hide it. Because, we do like backdoor deals and stuff. New Mexico, you guys do it on the courthouse steps, broad daylight, in front of television cameras."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so in a lot of ways, they talk about Ukraine having a lot of corruption. I mean, living in New
Could be
Mexico.
worse. Could be New Mexico.
Yeah, exactly, exactly correct.
And we still get federal funding, so there you go.
So, speaking of, this might be kind of the last thing that I want to bring up today. I just want to talk about Hungary's shenanigans.
Hungary at it again.
Yes. So basically, okay, so Hungarian's prime minister's office demands recognition of all of Ukraine's Zakarpattia as traditionally Hungarian. Well, first of all, that's not true. Okay. Second of all, like, what the hell does that even mean? What's happening here is that Orban is showing his cards. He's showing his cards in the sense that I believe he made a secret deal with Trump. No, not with. Well, he might have made a secret deal with Trump, but with Putin before the war, that if they were as successful as Putin thought they were going to be, that Hungary was going to get its piece of Ukraine, and that is Zakarpattia. I lived in Zakarpattia most of last year when I wasn't in the Legion.
Okay.
And
I remember those videos, yeah.
And there are a lot of Hungarians with dual passports. Okay, and there was a time when Hungary was just passing out passports to anybody in Zakarpattia, left and right, basically. Nobody in that part of Ukraine wants to actually be part of Hungary.
No.
They want to keep their Ukrainian citizenship, and they don't want to be part of Hungary. They don't want to be part of the EU even necessarily. And this is because they can freely cross over the border. They can live in the cheap side of town and build a nice big house, and then work on the other side.
Yeah.
Is pretty much what it is.
Gentrification.
Yeah, and so this idea, but what they're doing here is they're showing their cards. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like this part of Zakarpattia is not repressed in any way. I've posted videos. I have shorts on my YouTube channel here that are specifically from Zakarpattia, where you see kids from the local school. And I'm not going to go through all of my shorts, but kids from the local school doing like traditional Hungarian dances, and they're taught both Hungarian and all the sign and Ukrainian. All the signs are in both. This might even be a picture from. Oh yeah, this is a picture from where I lived, Beregovo City. I literally remember this place. I used to walk past it all the time. So it's ridiculous. And Beregovo is probably the most Hungarian city. See, the thing is, when I say it's not true that it's traditionally Hungarian, if we take a look at this area here.
Uzhhorod.
Yeah. So Uzhhorod is not only Uzhhorod is also Slovakian and Czech, because Czechoslovakia, what used to be Czechoslovakia, is over here. Okay, so there's a lot of Czechs living in that area. Mukachevo is the same. Okay, the areas that are really, really Hungarian are like right here, like this city that I lived in, Beregovo. It's like the most Hungarian of the Hungarians. And the further you get west here, and this, by the way, is the this green that you see here is the Carpathian Mountains. Okay, and these guys here, they're all sorts of different ethnicities. There's these guys called Hutsuls, who are generally referred to as the most Ukrainian of Ukrainians that you can be. Hutsuls, yeah, I spelled it wrong, of course. So this is like, and there's lots of different arguments about this, but so this is traditional Hutsul dress and Hutsul. And I actually, when I was in Kolomia, which is on this side of the Carpathians, but so this is and it's
no one knows which side of the Carpathians we're on.
Right, that's fair. Then they even had their own republic for a small period of time.
Hutzul Republic.
Yeah, the Hutzul Republic, and it was this area here, and this was at the time when during the Ukrainian Civil War and the Russian Civil War, and so yeah, so for Hungary to go and say that is just stupid.
Well, it's a lot like New Mexico once again. I mean, you have people there that think it's part of Mexico.
Oh,
Most people in the United States probably do too.
yeah, yeah.
And if you go to New Mexico, there's a reason they call it New Mexico, because it's very Spanish and Mexican in nature. And to take that away would be to take away the charm of New Mexico. So to have Hungarian influence in Ukraine is a wonderful thing.
Right. Exactly. That
doesn't mean they're going to secede.
Yeah, exactly. And that is exactly the point. Thanks, Herb. Thanks for coming. I'm sorry I didn't notice you earlier. Thank you for coming, Herb. And I see a lot of people who are here that I didn't get to see before. So Aussie T, thanks for coming. And Richard Stevens, let's see, the right wing, the evangelicals have melded together in global influence from the US to Africa to Australia. They advocate the death penalty for being LGBTQ. I used to be one of those people. When I was a child, I was raised Foursquare Pentecostal.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my
no
father.
You're such a radical.
Yeah. Now you understand. Yeah. So yeah, my father was a preacher, and I was hardcore, man, until I was about 12.
And that's usually the age, right?
Yeah. Well, I also my family kicked me out of the house when I was 12, and so that kind of changed my mind.
We have a lot in common.
So yeah, and so then I changed and I realized I didn't believe in any of that shit. So, but Richard Stevens, I actually do agree with you, because I was raised up to believe that was exactly what needed to happen.
Just gotta pray away the gay.
I actually thought that all gays should be killed, rounded up and killed, and that's what I believed.
That's awful.
I mean, I was 12, but and then that's
which gives a lot of hope. I mean, that all 12-year-olds that are getting that indoctrination are not going to.
Exactly.
It's like school.
Exactly.
I hear all these people complain about, oh my God, what are they teaching our kids in school? All these agendas, blah, 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 blah. I was in school once. I remember agendas.
Right.
I don't remember.
Right.
Matter of fact, I don't remember pretty much anything my teachers told me, because they were adults and I hated them.
Yeah. That's the thing is the harder the schools push, the more the reaction against it can potentially from the students, but so this is actually and I know this is this is from the 24th, so 5 days ago, but this is arguably, so EU uses a legal loophole to overturn Hungary's veto on arms for Ukraine. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a few months back, there's a situation where there was a vote on funding. It was $50 billion from the EU to be given out over the course of 5 years, and Hungary was going to veto it. And Schultz, we talk shit about Schultz a lot, but he convinced Orban to just step outside and have a cup of coffee when the vote happened.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And so then they still had a quorum. Mm-hmm. So the EU, the European Council, was able to vote for this funding. But the thing is, under this deal, Hungary could still potentially, because it's being given out in these little $3 or $4 billion blocks of money. Hungary they're going to vote on each one of those.
They could veto all of them.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this legal loophole. The European Union will use a legal procedure to get around Hungary's veto of, and I do not pretend to understand European law. Okay, I'm just reporting this. All right, to get around Hungary's veto veto of a plan to buy weapons for Ukraine using seized Russian cash. The loophole could also, because this 50 billion in loans that's also supposed to be coming to Ukraine, that also has to get voted on by the European Council. And even worse, for the next 6 months, Hungary has the presidency. Remember, it's a rotating presidency. Yeah. Hungary has the presidency of the EU. So now what I understand about this loophole here is let's see, blah 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 blah. What is the actual loophole? I know what it is. I just want to read it so I don't mess it up when I say it. Oh yeah, here we go. The decision is clear. Mr. Broe said, "We consider that since Hungary didn't participate in the decision, it's not necessary that they could participate in the implementation." So in other words, because Orban walked out for a cup of coffee when the first vote on Ukraine funding happened, legally under European law, they don't get a say in any other further.
Well done, Orban.
I know, or Schultz or whoever convinced him to do that. Exactly. It's this is where I want to kind of end our live stream today, because with all of the other crap going on, this and North Korea, blah blah blah. This is a very interesting little. I don't know. It's a silver lining, so it's a good thing that happened.
Yeah, I remember. I actually was on a plane over the Atlantic when Hungary decided there was no longer it was a state of danger between Ukraine and Hungary. I don't know if you remember that. So I was landed in Budapest, and all of a sudden they were not going to let us. We had 350 pounds of humanitarian aid. They weren't going to let us across the border into Ukraine, so we had to go all the way into Slovakia, bribe our way into Slovakia.
Jesus Christ.
Uzhrad to get in.
Yeah, I know, it's awful. I've been through the Uzhrad.
There was some pretty scary moments in Hungary, I'll tell you what. Ukrainian aid.
And we can talk about, maybe I want to talk tomorrow about if we get a chance, talk about the shells. Basically, it turns out that all of these shells that the Czech Republic has been buying for Ukraine are coming from Serbia.
No kidding.
Yeah, Serbia and Slovakia.
Okay, Serbian ones, but at least we know that work.
Yeah. But the thing is both Serbia and Slovakia are like super anti-Ukraine right now.
That's funny.
But they're like, hey, we'll take your money.
Well, the Serbian government, the Slovakian government, I think the people of both those countries are very pro-Ukraine.
Well, it's a close call. At least in Slovakia, it's like 50-50. The conservative Fico, the conservative government there, has like a 1% margin. The Serbians are a different kettle of fish.
Sure. The
Serbians as a people, they sided with Hitler, and they never got punished for it. And the same is true for Hungarians. If you talk to any Ukrainian about like why is Hungary the way it is, even though I know that Hungary also has a very narrow margin, there's a very strong anti-Orban push coming right now. But most Ukrainians will tell you, the Serbians and the Hungarians, they sided with the Nazis. They fought for and with the Nazis, but they never had to pay the price that the Germans did.
Interesting.
Yeah, they never learned the lesson. So yeah, that I think is the end of our live stream today. I'm going to end it with a nice big picture of, here's what I'd like to ask you guys. And Richard Stevens brought up this issue, which is a very valid one. Right now, guys, don't buy any more stuff don't buy any more stuff that's going to get sent to you. Okay. Instead, buy stuff that I'm going to send to, or actually the best thing to do is to enter our raffle
for the car.
Man, they need this so badly.
How much do you have so far?
Now this only counts donations on through Shopify.
Okay.
I've got about another $100 donated through PayPal.
Come on, people, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, and we need to get to 3,000. So I can't remember who it is who asked for a video. I actually almost got that video finished today. Actually, on the Marshrutka coming here.
Yeah.
I was like furiously on my phone. I'm learning to do video editing on my phone now.
That's impressive.
I have to do it because when do I have time? You know what I mean?
Better glasses than I do. That's what it is.
That's funny. Maybe, yeah. But I'm like furiously editing, and I've made a video for that. And so that is going to be released very, very soon, hopefully this week. And so this is the most important thing right now, guys. And then secondarily, the supplies for the drone team on the front line. And basically what I'm doing with this is, and this is, they asked for this, is once a month, I'm going to take all of the orders for these items, antennas and Wi-Fi receiver and all of that stuff, and I'm going to send it out in one package. And I'm hoping that I can get everything shipped directly to them. Some things might be difficult, but I'm going to process those orders once a month, essentially. So that way they're not getting like, oh, here's one antenna. It's not worth it for them to go all the way to the post office, the Nova Poshta, to pick up one freaking antenna.
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So and that's the same is true for all the supplies that I purchase. I'm sending out tourniquets. I meant to do it this week. I'm sending out. We have orders for 19 tourniquets, which
that's outstanding.
Yeah, or 20. I think I miscounted. I think there's 20, and those are going to specifically what those are going to. I need to. They're not on the list here, but those are going to the. Okay, I need. Let me bring it up. I need to show this. Those tourniquets, because basically I was going to send them to these guys in Alpha Company, and they said, yeah, we actually have enough tourniquets. We have more tourniquets than we need.
Whoa.
I know, right? I was like, okay, all right. So that's when I went to my guys in the 2nd Battalion, 2nd International Legion Battalion, and I said to them, hey, do you guys need tourniquets? And I know they need tourniquets because, okay, here we go. Yeah, it's these guys right here, which I will show to you when I open this with Google Chrome. There we go. So these guys. So this is Dax and Sphinx. These guys are in the International Legion, and so the tourniquets that you guys bought are going to them. They had a really rough time when I went to go and visit guys in this team. I was able to meet with Dax, but I wasn't able to meet with Sphinx because his unit took a serious hit and they lost 3 people and 20 injured.
Jesus.
Yeah, and recon drone team.
Oh, lovely.
So he was like, yeah, he said, unfortunately, yeah, we still need tourniquets. However, I found a new, people have been requesting that I not send Dnipro 2s, and I'm sending Sich tourniquets now.
Okay.
By request.
Okay.
By request. So.
I don't know what I just brought Cat 2s, the SWAT.
Yeah, the Cat 2s are always the number one, but I'll show you guys the Sich tourniquet. It looks a little bit different. Yeah. But apparently they like it. And they like it specifically. So this is what it looks like. They like it specifically because when they do have to reset a tourniquet or move a tourniquet, it's easier to work with than the Dnipro 2s.
Huh.
So, and they also come in green.
Oh.
They have, they're not like army green, but they're green. So they have black ones, orange ones, and green ones.
They'll show the blood better.
Yeah, I suppose. So, anything you want to tell us or talk about? I know we can't talk about the work that you're doing here or where we are.
No, just that.
Not yet, anyway.
It's just great to be here. I mean, it's great to see. A lot of my team is gone. I mean, they're just fucking vanished. So some of the old team members were here this time, which made it kind of nice. But lots of new people, lots of new soldiers. And thanks for all the well wishes. I mean, I really appreciate that. You don't know how much, because support's hard to come by for these things. I mean, my family supports me, but they really don't want me here.
Right. Yeah, but, for sure.
But this is a common group of people who all want the best for Ukraine. So, I'm in the right company.
Yeah.
And dude, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh.
Can't say enough about that.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that I get to help your group in some way.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think you will.
Yeah. I think there's a lot I can do.
Because you're one of those, the group I work with, just so you guys know a little bit about them, they're just a bunch of innovators. I mean, if you've got this to happen in Ukraine, then my group is the one to do it through, because honestly, they don't have time to tell you what to do. They have time to listen to what you can do for them. And so that's why I'm here, because I've got a certain thing that I do, and they're very supportive of that. So
it's cool shit.
I appreciate it.
It's cool shit.
I appreciate the exposure.
Yeah. It's awesome. All right.
Although we can't tell you anything.
Yeah, we can't tell you.
I still appreciate the exposure.
Maybe down the line, maybe we'll have like
and I hope you all enjoyed the nude on the wall behind us.
Oh yeah, partial nude. It's tasteful plumber butt.
It's tasteful plumber butt.
Yeah.
Ukrainian style.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Thank you very much, everybody who came, and everybody who's watching this stream later. If you got to the end, good on you. And please, if you would, donate if you can. If you can't, just help Ukraine in any way you can.
Please help Ukraine.
Whatever you can do is great. Watching this stream. Oh, liking and subscribing. I always forget to ask people to like and subscribe. I'm terrible about it. So like and subscribe, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.